Welcome to Retro Smash Gaming Podcast. We are a weekly gaming podcast who releases episodes monthly, apparently.
That's us.
So in our first episode, or episode 0, whatever it was, we said that we were going to release episodes weekly. After spending some time editing and whatnot, I figured out it's going to take a little bit longer than what I thought it would. So going forward, we're probably going to do bi-weekly episodes. And the reason we haven't really released any episodes in the past month is because we recorded a few episodes, but the audio quality was not good, and I didn't feel comfortable releasing them. So I took some time trying to learn the program and just mess around with all the audio adjustments and whatever the hell you call it. Just trying to get it to sound better. So right. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I know if the audio quality is not good, I don't want to listen to it.
Right.
So I wanted to spend a little time. I figured it's still early in our podcast lifespan.
There we go.
So
and this is something that I totally agree with him with, because he's doing all the heavy lifting and all the editing. I'm just here to supply like the fart and wiener jokes that are just absolutely amazing. So when he says, "Hey, I don't like that," they're amazing. They're phenomenal.
I mean, if you say so, we'll agree to disagree.
Well, why don't we agree that they're phenomenal?
Some of them are B+.
Hey, C's get degrees. Just remember that.
It doesn't make it quality, though.
That's fine. But, speaking of quality, when you said, hey, the sound's not up to quality that I like, you're doing all the editing for this. And so I'm just like, you know what? If you don't like it, let's just recut it. Let's just do it again. I totally 1,000% agree, because this is something we want to get right for you guys, for you people out there listening. We want to make sure we get this right. So this was an agreement we both made, and Eric's going to do his best to give you the best podcast we possibly can.
So what are we talking about today, Nick?
I don't know. What are we talking about today?
We are talking Zombies Ate My Neighbors, a classic on the Super Nintendo.
Yes, my favorite run and gun for the Super Nintendo. That makes me so happy.
It's probably in both our top 3s for Super Nintendo games.
It's my one.
So you got the Switch version?
I did.
It released June 29th. And I'm not sure when this episode's dropping. Maybe July 11th? Next Monday?
Oh, cool. Yes. I don't know. We're absolutely not recording multiple episodes in one day. We would never do something like that, right?
Of course not.
No, never. But yes, I have purchased it, and I have probably pumped a good already 10 to 12 hours into it, even in a week. So there are some qualms that I had with the re-release.
They didn't fix the cheerleader thing.
The cheerleader thing.
When you can't grab her when she's jumping.
Oh, no. Like, I feel like they totally, just emulated the game and just slapped it together and then made me pay an additional $16 for it, which I absolutely did.
Well, you got Ghoul Patrol, too.
So I got Zombies Ate My Neighbors with I'm sorry.
No, we're both in agreement that game fucking sucks.
It's pretty booty. Yeah, it's pretty booty.
So before we get into Zombies Ate My Neighbors, I think we're going to do a quick draft of the best console launch games.
Yes.
This is just a little game we're going to play. We will put it up on Twitter.
And what's our Twitter handle?
Retro_smashed.
Yes. And like I say, just hit us up if you agree. Like, there's something you miss. We're not perfect by any means. And we'd love to hear from you guys. We really would.
So we're recording 2 episodes today. And
hey, I just told everybody we weren't. What are you doing? No, I'm kidding.
So in the other episode that the other episode that we recorded first was with a buddy of ours, and I said something about trying to get a Discord server going, and I don't know if I've done that yet. No, actually, so this episode will drop before that episode, and hopefully by that time or this time we'll have a Discord server. So I will also put on the results of the draft we're about to do on that, and you can vote on it. Tell us who did better. And the loser will have to do some sort of punishment that Espo is going to decide.
No, because he's over here playing Super Mario 3, and he's kind of just listening IRL right now, and he's super excited that he's going to make one of us atone for our draft sins. So, okay.
You want to open it up?
No.
You want to flip a coin?
No, you have home field advantage. You get to pick first.
Oh, okay. Here we go. And list.
So we're going 3 each.
3 each. What should I choose? And you're letting me choose first?
I will let you choose first, and I think I know what you're going to go with.
I think that to start it off, I am going to choose the Nintendo Wii.
That is not what I thought you were going to
Really?
take first.
Really, because of two games here.
Okay.
Twilight Princess and Wii Sports. And I don't have a full list in front of me. Maybe I should look at that. That's what a professional podcaster would do.
You know us, professionalism. We're super professional here.
So, yeah, it's Wii Sports and Twilight Princess. Red Steel, too. It was all right for what it was. It probably wouldn't hold up now, but do you remember playing that game, Red Steel?
I played a little bit of it, and it was kind of like what I was half expecting. Like, Red Dead Redemption was everything I thought it was going to be. Red Steel, I think that came out first, obviously, right? Before Red Dead Redemption. And that's kind of what I was hoping it was going to be. Like, something like that game. Like, oh, man, I wish I had a game that was like this, and then Red Dead Redemption comes out. Because that was an old, if I remember, am I thinking right? Red Steel?
No, Red Steel's with the sword.
Is it? It's the one with the sword, but wasn't that, it had like a Western? Was it a Western theme? I don't know. It's been forever since I played it. I think I played it right when it came out, all those years and years ago. See, I don't remember. That's the thing, because I played the hell out of Wii Sports. I played the bowling. I played the golf a lot.
Say what you will about the Wii, but Wii Sports was a solid title.
It was revolutionary. It really was.
Bowling was good. Tennis was really good. Golf was great.
Golf was phenomenal.
And all the little mini games they had in it. Mm-hmm. With the bowling, with the power bowling, I think is what they called it, where you had to knock down all those fucking pins.
Oh, like the 250 pins, yeah.
Dude, that was so much fun.
Right.
Boxing was all right.
Boxing was okay. If you had the nunchuck, if you were one of those super rich kids that had the nunchuck with it. I know he's over here like, oh, it came with it. I don't think we got our first nunchuck until like 3 months after we bought the Wii. So I'm like, I just want to play the boxing game. I didn't get to, but then we ended up buying another one.
You and I spent a lot of time playing the Wii Golf too.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Whether it was Wii Sports or Tiger Woods 10 or even playing it for the Switch that just came out, the Mario Golf. Like we like those kind of motion golf games.
After playing Mario Golf, I still think Wii Golf is better.
Really?
I really do.
Really? Wow. I wouldn't have expected that.
It's Mario Golf's got a lot of gimmicky stuff that's fun. But if you just want to golf, just fucking play the Wii Sports Golf.
That's fair.
And then the other launch title that really made me pick the Wii was Twilight Princess.
I never got into that one.
Well, you don't get into a lot of the Zelda games.
That's fair too.
But Twilight Princess is a pretty solid title.
Okay.
It really is. And I don't know that I would recommend it for you to play right away. There's other, like if you're first getting into Zelda, there's other games that I'd definitely tell you to play first.
Right. And my disdain for my disdain for Link to the Past, but I do like Breath of the Wild.
We're going to work on that.
Are we now?
We are. All right. So what do you got for your first pick?
I think you kind of cornered me because I was going to take that as my first pick. That was phenomenal. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to take the original NES ones. I'm going to take the Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. See, it was one of those that like resurrected after the video game crash. Like everybody was looking for one of those games that they had to like attach to. And Mario pretty much by itself, that game pretty much by itself saved video games.
Okay, yeah. So you got like Super Mario Bros.
I mean, it was colorful.
Duck Hunt.
It was colorful. It was just a fun game, fun platformer. Like that game holds up today. Like people can sit and play that game today. I mean, you can play any of these games today, but they're not all gonna hold up. Like the original, that's timeless. And Duck Hunt is timeless too, but to a lesser extent. So, all right. You have the second round pick, and you are going with...
About the Xbox. And really, I mean, honestly, like looking over these lists, there's not one system that really stands out. Like, holy shit, this had an amazing list of good launch titles.
Sure.
Xbox was okay. It had a lot of sports games, NASCAR, Madden, a few racing games.
And that was back when the games were getting a little more realistic too, like realistic looking across the board. I mean, not just like control wise, but yeah, they were getting more realistic in the early 2000s.
There's one game that really sticks out to me though,
and that is
it's Halo.
It's the original Halo.
It's Halo.
It's the Godfather. That's a good pick. I like that.
It's okay. When you compare it to the other Halos, it's okay. It's good. It's good, but it's not Halo 2. It's definitely not Halo 3.
Oh, yeah, definitely not Halo 3, no. But
for your second pick.
Well, I will just kind of expand on that Halo thing. Like, everybody says that, like, GoldenEye was the granddaddy of all first-person shooters. Halo has to be that crazy uncle that comes in and just throws everything upside down. Because, like, what other first-person shooters up until that point were even, I mean, maybe the Call of Duties, maybe Medal of Honor. Like, what other first-person shooters were really that kind of evolved? Like, really looked that good? Because the original Xbox, it looked good and it played really well, too. Because
was that a play on the combat evolved thing? Is that what you're going for?
A little bit.
Not to call you out on it.
A little bit. And I thought about it. I'm like, combat evolved. I'm like, that's a good word to use.
Yeah.
That's a good word to use because I only know like 18 words. I've been kept underground my whole life. So, yeah.
Did you have an Xbox?
I did not. I had a PS2, and then I think we also went... that was a battle I lost. That was a battle I lost in the Weldy Time household because I wanted an Xbox. My younger sister, who's 7 years younger than me, wanted a Wii. So we compromised, and we got a Wii. So I didn't get to play all the cool like shooters like all my friends did. They would set up the LANs and play shoddy snipes for hours. I'm like, I got this Wii over here. I can play Guitar Hero. I never got any of the cool like shooters like that. And I regret not getting into Zelda at that time a little bit.
You weren't really missing much with the Xbox, so.
Really?
I don't think so. Halo?
Gears.
That was 360. I think that came out on 360.
Oh, you're talking the original. Okay.
Yeah.
The original was 360.
But you're more of an Xbox guy now.
Gears of War, third person kind of shooters like that. Like not FPS, but like third person outside. That blew my mind.
Dude, Gears is fun.
Gears was fun as hell.
Yeah, my first LAN party was Gears.
Mm-hmm. Everybody remembers where they were the first time they used that chainsaw lancer to saw somebody in half. Everybody remembers that exact moment. That's like one of the three things I remember in my life. When my two kids were born and where I was when I got to saw somebody in half for the first time.
What do you got for your second pick?
I'm going to go a little outside the box. I know, for our last draft for actual consoles, we put it on Twitter. I think you actually won that one.
It was tied.
I was my own vote. I didn't tell you that.
I voted for myself, too.
Did you really?
Of course I fucking did.
I thought somebody else voted for you, but there was another friend of ours that said that the consoles that you picked, the gaming libraries were just far superior to what I had because I went with games that were more innovative for the time. And so I feel like I'm not going to really deviate from that. I'm going to go Tetris for the Game Boy. That was a game that...
So you're taking the Game Boy.
I'm going to take the Game Boy on this one, and I'm going to take Tetris as the pack-in for it because it was a game that there's not a whole lot to it, but everybody loves. Like it was one that really showed you what the Game Boy can do because there are people that could probably still grab an old school Game Boy and like much like I did when I was 5 or 6 years old when we went to Florida to Disney World and just play Tetris on the original Game Boy for hours and hours and hours.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I never got into that hype. Tetris is a good game, but I don't see the addiction to it.
Well, I mean, as a pack-in game, like for if you don't get anything else other than that right when it came out, like that was totally worth it, and that's what we're going here.
Yeah, and it was a different time.
It was.
Really, like you played what you had.
Mm-hmm.
And you played the shit out of what you had.
That, and I had on the way to Florida, of course, this was a long time after it came out, because I was playing on my dad's original Game Boy. but I had Tetris and I had Bo Jackson's 2-in-1 football, baseball. And this was before Pokemon came out. Like, this is before Pokemon Blue and Pokemon Red came out. So imagine 8-year-old Weldy time asking mom for batteries again because I've been playing Pokemon Blue for, 9 to 10 hours at a time. That game was great too. But just having it as a pack-in game, I think Tetris really, called everybody out. I was like, yeah, games are mobile now.
There's a good story behind Tetris and how it was published too.
I'm listening.
Oh, I don't know it well enough to fucking tell it, but there's a good one.
I thought you were gonna there's a good story. I'm like, oh, is there really? You're like, I think there is.
Yeah. No, there definitely is, and you should look into it.
Right.
But I cannot tell you it. Because I'm not a very good storyteller.
That's okay. But, like reading here, they sold 40,000 Game Boy units in the first day alone, with that version of Tetris going on to sell. Actually, you know what? We'll do this. How many, and this is in terms of millions. I'm reading this here. In terms of millions, that original version of Tetris went on to sell how many million copies? And this isn't 22 and a half or 39 and a quarter million. This is just reading this here. Exact million copies. How many millions of copies did the original Tetris sell?
Let's say 6 million?
35.
Ooh,
35 million.
How's that hold up on the most games sold of all time?
I think it's really high up there. I mean, obviously, it was probably held that distinction for maybe a decade, and then probably with the pick I think you're going to go with next.
You have no idea what I'm going to pick next.
I think I have an idea what you're going to go with next, because if you don't take it, I'm going to.
What are you going to take?
Well, I'm not going to tell you. That would make me the worst drafter ever.
You're not going to pick Super Nintendo, are you?
No.
You're not going to pick Super Nintendo, are you?
No. Maybe.
I'll hate draft. I'll take the Super Nintendo.
You son of a bitch.
Dude, from the list I'm seeing, it had Super Mario World, which was the pack-in game, F-Zero, and Pilot Wings.
Oh, F-Zero. That game's so hard.
F-Zero is okay. That might piss off a lot of people. I'm not. It's not something I played a lot when I was a kid. I played it when it was on the Super Nintendo Classic, the Mini. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a good game.
Which is weird fun. Because you crap all over the original Super Mario Kart, so I figured you would love F-Zero.
It just does not hold up, though.
That's fair, and that's a previous podcast, so make sure to catch us on our previous podcast page.
But Super Mario World, you can't touch that game.
No.
It's fucking great.
It redefined platforming.
I mean, looking back on my list, what do I got here? I have the Wii, the Xbox, and the Super Nintendo. I think that's a pretty good list.
Actually, I really like your list. I don't. Now I gotta make like a decision. I feel like I gotta appeal to no. Yeah, you took Wii Sports. You took Wii Sports. You took Super Mario World for NES. And
are we doing games or systems?
Systems. What did you hold on? Time out. What
specifically saying games?
Time out. What did you say you took? You took.
I took the Wii, the Xbox, and the Super Nintendo.
Okay, and I've taken the Game Boy, the original NES. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I gotta go something a little more modern. So I'm gonna try to appeal to a modern audience. Breath of the Wild was a great release game for the Switch. Mm-hmm. That was a great release game for it.
So you're picking the Switch?
No.
Okay, because I was about to throw a fucking red card. Because we are a retro gaming podcast.
No.
And that's definitely not retro.
That is true. I mean, no, you didn't say it had to be retro. You just said greatest launch consoles of all time.
Dude, we are a retro podcast. It has to, it's implied.
So I feel like I have to go against you here and appeal to a different audience, which means I kind of got to go with the Genesis does what Nintendo don't.
It doesn't, though.
It doesn't. I mean, it does look better, but that's pretty much about it. I gotta go with the Genesis.
Was Sonic a release game?
I think Sonic was a release game.
Was it? Because the list I'm looking at, it's not. My list could be wrong.
Well, because I thought they did that. Wait, hold on, time out. Because I thought they released that game to rival directly with Mario.
Maybe.
Ooh, could I be getting teched out here? That could be a technicality.
What I am seeing is Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle, Altered Beast, Ghouls and Ghosts, Golden Axe, Last Battle, Space Harrier 2. Is that how you say Harrier?
Harrier?
Harrier.
Harr.
Thunder Force 2. Tommy Lasorda Baseball.
Lasorda.
Sorry, I'm not a fucking baseball.
You're not a Dodgers guy. Apparently, you're not a Dodgers guy. Okay, so reading that list, I'm going to renege on that, and I'm going to take the 64. I got to take the first Super Mario 64. I got to do it. It was
so the launch titles from what I'm seeing for the 64 were Pilot Wing 64 and Super Mario 64. Is that right?
Yes. So
you just try to do like one up my Super Nintendo?
Well, I feel like I have to because I really like your draft.
Okay, but hold on.
I really hate the fact that I let you draft first.
Is Pilot Wing 64 better than Pilot Wings?
I don't know. Because that's when they first started getting into Mode 7. Well, it was like, is Star Fox 64 better than the original Star Fox for the Super Nintendo?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Well, you're asking the same question.
No, they're two different games. No, that doesn't hold up.
Yes, this is what you just said.
Is Super Mario 64 better than Super Mario World?
Depends on...
No, don't.
I can't answer that. I mean, I don't think so.
Okay, then no, it's not.
But I'm going for a more revolutionary kind of title. And when you move Mario into a 3D spectrum, you opened up that door for Galaxy, Odyssey, Sunshine. You opened that door straight up for 3D games. And they made it work.
It was.
That's the thing. They made it work. Like Sonic couldn't.
But it does not touch Super Mario World.
And that's why we're leaving it to the fans to vote on Twitter at @retro_smash.
I chose the Wii, the Xbox, Super Nintendo, and Nick chose the NES, Game Boy, and the N64. Now, I am questioning this whole podcasting thing, like retro podcasting, like looking at our list. We should just have a Nintendo podcast.
That's kind of what it sounds like.
Because we are total Nintendo fanboys.
Well,
and to be honest, I was thinking about the GameCube.
I was, again,
Luigi's Mansion.
I would have taken the Genesis, but I didn't know that Sonic wasn't an original Sonic. I learned something today.
Right, so get on our Twitter or our Discord if we have it. Are you ready to jump into Zombies Ate My Neighbors?
Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I think so.
All right. On the other side of this commercial break, we will jump into Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Yes, the neighbors are just dying to meet you. Where's that scary music coming from? It's Zombies, where you appear in every demented horror flick ever to make you hurl jujubes. Who could put this slice of Siberia in such a goose pimply hysteria? Zombies, relentless. Mummies, evil zolls that just won't die, lizard men, blobs, vampires, giant ants, Martians, and so much more. What are two wholesome teenage stars doing in a 16-bit game like this, trying to save the nice neighbors, cheerleaders, and babies from a fate worse than polyester? Will these crazy kids survive the night? You can fend off the freaks with a virtual candy counter of weapons, like squirt guns, exploding soda pop, bazookas, weed whackers, and ancient artifacts. Use your victim radar viewer, also grab power-up-oramas, like secret potions, and Bobo the Clown depoys. Fight your way through 55 horror-filled levels, like a grocery store gone bad, a shopping mall, and a mysterious island. Zombies Ate My Neighbors coming to you in 1993. I know you like the game. What are your thoughts about the game before I kind of go into my little spiel here?
Well, let's do a quick overview of the game. It's a run-and-gun, 2-player co-op game. Play as either Zeke or Julie.
Mm-hmm.
So you go through these different levels, saving your neighbors, which can be like a cheerleader, a teacher, baby, dude chilling in the pool, someone jumping on a trampoline, grill guy, military man. And you're saving these neighbors from the different enemies you got. And as long as you have one neighbor left in the level, you can continue playing.
Yeah, so you start the game with 10. And then as you progress through the levels, that they get obviously harder, you know, if your neighbors get gotten by one of these werewolves or zombies or mummies like that, you'll start the next level with one less. Every 40,000 points, you will get one of the neighbors back, though. So as long as you have one at the very, very end, you'll be golden.
Some of the different enemies you got are zombies, you got evil dolls, lagoon monster, mummy, chainsaw Jason looking motherfuckers. And
I don't think that's how they described it in the manual.
They should have.
They should have, yeah.
And you got weapons, like you would think of when you're fighting these people. Like a machine gun and
tomatoes,
knives and shit.
Plates.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
You have things like squirt gun, popsicles, forks and knives, plates, bazooka, 6-pack of pop, and you could turn into a beast. I guess that's.
Mm-hmm. You have the secret potions out there too. So it's kind of it's almost like it's a run and gun free for all with a very 1950s horror movie taste. Not even before that,
like a B
30s and
movie.
40s horror movies.
Yeah. It's a really cool theme.
It's a really cool theme, and it really does hold up to this day because it's like it's a very cult. I feel like it's a very cult classic.
It is, and it'll probably get a lot more love being on the Switch now.
Right, and that's what I was kind of hoping. Everybody was hoping it was going to come to the Virtual Console, but it ended up selling as its own subsidiary.
Well, probably because it was made by Lucasfilms, who is owned by Disney, and Disney probably wants their piece of the pie, so they didn't want to put it on the online
marketplace. Yeah, or they didn't want to put it in the actual SNES online. So okay, so you've played the remake for it. What did you think about the remake versus the actual game?
I didn't see a ton of differences, honestly.
Really? Okay.
I'm not as into it as what you are, so
sure.
I probably missed a lot of shit. But just playing it a little bit, I thought they did really well.
I did too. I mean, it was a little playing with the actual Joy-Con controllers was a little weird because the actual D-pad quote unquote buttons on there are smaller.
Right, and they're separated, so you can't you don't have that when you're trying to.
You can't roll it. You can't roll your finger. Yep. Yeah, and then
So I played with the stick. Did you play with the stick, or did you play with the D-pad?
That felt wonky too. I have a actual Super Nintendo controller that I use for my Switch, and I felt like that worked a lot better. So
it probably did.
If I could recommend that to you out there, I would say that's probably the best way to play it.
It's like an 8-point shooting. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But it is such a pain in the ass to try to hit the zombies, when you're moving, because it's almost like you have to walk in a straight line to hit them.
Right.
So using the analog stick, it was kind of a pain in the ass. I definitely like the Super Nintendo better in that respect.
I did use the analog stick a little bit, and I felt like I got stuck, kind of in a one of the diagonal positions trying to shoot. If I'm walking to the right. If I'm walking to the right, but then I go upwards and then I stop, expecting to shoot directly to the right, I'll be shooting up in the corner. Yeah. And I think that's one of those kind of weird crossover kind of limitation things, but that's a minor gripe.
Let's get into the gameplay a little bit.
Okay.
The mechanics of it and the flow is so well done, I think.
Yes.
It is a very well-made game.
Mm-hmm.
It is a lot better than its successor in Ghoul Patrol that also released on the Switch, which just feels so clunky.
Well,
it handles really well. It's just smooth.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good word to use. It's just, it doesn't try to impress you with anything. It's just, here, this is the game. This is what it looks like. And it's just colorful. It plays well. I don't know if you're going to really find another run and gun shooter like that. Smash TV was a good run and gun shooter for the Super Nintendo. That was a fun one. Really, other than that, when it comes to run and guns, that's where you're gonna find the cream of the crop.
I played it when I was a kid, as did you.
Yep.
I don't think it got a lot of love though.
No, because I think it was also people were starting to get super hyped for, well, like I say, 1993. So that wouldn't have been that would have been that
was still midlife for the Super Nintendo, right?
Right, yeah. And I'm trying to think of what else was coming out around that time. I think Mega Man X was coming out, but you almost had to be specifically a Mega Man fan to jump on the Mega Man X bandwagon, but the graphics on that one were great. I think Super Punch-Out was in 93 too, so you had a few choices for games, and maybe this is one that kind of got left behind. a little bit. I hate to say it.
Yeah, looking at 93, it was actually a pretty good list.
I'm listening.
Let's see here. You have Super Mario Kart. No, that was 92. Why did it tell me 93? Oh, UK was 93. Well, this list is kind of shit. I just went North America. Secret of Mana in 93.
Probably the first Final Fantasy to subsequent it. Well, let's just say Final Fantasy 2 or 3.
Probably. Yeah, Super Mario All-Stars.
Ooh.
93. That was a good collection.
That's a very good collection.
Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Star Fox. Like we talked about before, the game's kind of shit.
It was like trying to play World of Warcraft on a Sega Saturn. It just was before its time. And then they perfected it with the 64. But anyway, go on.
No, it wasn't before its time. It was just shit. That's it.
Okay.
Don't try to defend it. It was a shit game.
I'll try to defend it.
Mortal Kombat came out in 93.
But the far superior version for that was for the Sega.
I won't fight that.
Thanks to Nintendo's stupid, no blood policy, censorship. There we go. I like that better.
Yeah, but it didn't get as much love as what it should have. Because it is a great game.
And it did. It fell through the cracks a lot. But now I'm so glad it's getting the love it's getting because it really deserved it. But, like, what did you think, like, the layout of the actual, like, re-release itself? Like, I told you earlier that, like, you don't get the big intro fanfare kind of thing. You don't get the big intro screen with the spinning red circles and stuff like that and the music. Like, that was one of the big draws for this game.
Was it, though? Like, it was probably just one of those nostalgic triggers for you.
I think you're absolutely right. Yeah. I think so. I heard somebody call it, and I really liked it on Twitter. Somebody called it like lo-fi depression or something like that. When you see something that you're nostalgic about and you get sad because you know you're never going to be there again. Mm-hmm. I think they called it lo-fi depression. So I think that kind of hit me a little bit because when I hit start on the game, it just took me right into level 1. Like no big intro, no big anything like that. So that kind of got a little, I was just like, okay. You know, I kind of wanted the big Konami intro with the music and stuff.
Did they have the mwah, ha, 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 ha?
No. It just jumps straight. Yeah, exactly. You don't get to, I mean, even just, it just says, hey, pick your player, and then it just jumps straight into level 1. Like, you don't get any of the fanfare or anything. So that kind of is just like, crap.
What did you think about the soundtrack?
Soundtrack that's what, man. Music-wise, that's got to be one of the best games for music on the Super Nintendo. I mean, it really does, because you get about 8 or 9 different just tracks on its own.
Yeah, I'm going to play something for you. Do you remember level 2? And we're probably going to have to edit this a little bit, but I want to play something for you. I want you to tell me what they are saying.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I have no idea. It sounds like Look Out, Here I Come.
Look Out, Here I Come?
Yes.
Okay, what I thought they were saying was something like, we belong in ourself.
Oh, see, I could probably hear both things.
All right. Is it this like Yanny Laurel thing? Yes,
I think so. This is the gold dress all over again.
All right, I'm going to play this.
It does. I can hear both of them.
Said, look out, here we come.
Yeah.
All right, let me back.
Did they ever say what that really says in it?
I have no idea. I was asking you.
I don't know.
Maybe they're not saying anything, and we're just hearing shit.
Probably.
It's definitely words, though. We're just babble.
It probably.
Yeah, I'm going to edit in like a little, like try to do that little soundtrack, little clip from it.
Right.
And you guys tell us what you think they're saying. Because we have no idea.
I don't think I found it either. You could probably find it somewhere. Now, of course, I have not really looked a lot into the museum. I did watch the interview a little bit with the gentleman that made the game. And he was absolutely right in saying that, you know, this is a game that's all about item management. It's all about item management, which is why you and I were talking earlier, and you said, well, why can't you just use a password for level 45 and just go? Well, you don't have any items.
Well, I said that I have never made it that far. I've never beat the game. You have.
Multiple times, yes.
Okay.
But it's been about 10 years. I did on Twitch the other night, Twitch at Weldy Time. I got to level 48 and I died. So which was the last level. I got to the final boss and died, and I was really disappointed. But
yeah, I was just saying that I wanted to use the passwords because I've never gotten that far in the game.
Oh,
so I want to see what it was like.
I gotcha. No,
and you were
good.
saying that you don't want to do that because when you just use the passwords, there's no save system in the game.
No,
it's just
it's a password system. Every 4 levels is a password system.
You're saying that you don't want to do that because when you just jump in like that, you don't have the accumulation of all the items and shit that you've gained.
You start with 150 squirt gun shots and a health pack, and that's it. You are toast because you need to build up that item cache of bazookas.
Is it cache or cache?
I thought it was cache. It's C-A-C-H-E.
Right.
Cache.
Tell us which one it is.
Yeah, let us know because obviously one of us is wrong and we need to be learned. I need to be learned. Wait, hold on. You're saying cache over here? You are on this episode now. You're over here sitting to my left. You're playing Super Mario 3. Cache. I thought it was cache. Anyway, your items cache, like you accumulate your 6-7 health packs over the course of the whole game. And obviously you'll be using them, but you'll find extras. Bazookas are big. The the beast potions end up being big. The Pandora's boxes are big. So that you accumulate all of these items over the course of the game. If you try to go running head first, just using, I'm just going to use a level 45 password with 10 left, you're going to have a bad day. Now, is it possible to be done? Yes. Does it take a lot of luck and a lot of skill? Also, yes. But you're going to have a lot easier time if you just start from level 1. It's worth the time and effort.
It's not because I can't get that far. I just want to jump to level 48.
And just go.
Because I just want to see what the levels are. Because they get really hard.
They do. And
it is a difficult game.
And this is one that's something that I'm learning over the past few years. People online are saying this was one of the hardest games on the Super Nintendo. And I'm like,
I didn't feel that when I was a kid.
I didn't either. That's the thing. That's what's weird for me.
That's me saying when I've never beat the game, I didn't think it was that hard.
It is a difficult game because I've never beat it. I beat the game with 3 neighbors left. That's my best game. And I feel like I got really lucky with some drops because, somebody asked me the other day, they asked me if there's a whole lot of RNG in the game. And the answer is yes and no. Because the enemies are the same. The item pickups are mostly in the same spots, but how many of each creature spawns in a certain spot is different. What you get out of because you can open cabinets in the houses and find stuff. You also may find boogeymen that try to hurt you. So you find all kinds of weird stuff. So if I find a boogeyman, that's bad RNG. But if I find a health pack, if I find this fast shoes, or if I find like a ghost potion which lets me walk on water and not get hurt, is there RNG? Yes. But are the neighbors all in the same spot? Do you get the same enemies in the same levels at the same spots? Also, yes. And that's where item accumulation really comes in play.
Do you have a favorite level?
I really like, one of my favorite levels is a level it's really hard. It's actually a hard level. It's level 19. It's Nightmare on Terror Street. It's a level that if you don't get to the tourists in time, they will turn into werewolves. Mm. But it's kind of cool because it starts in the day and then it slowly fades into a night setting. But there is a way you can prevent the tourists from turning into werewolves. And this is something that not a whole lot of people know. And this is something that I tested out in the newer version, and it stuck. It worked. You have to create a zombie parade. So, because the Super Nintendo creator, Konami, they had a 6 enemy sprite limitation on screen. So, if I have 6 zombies following me, which you have enough space on screen that can follow you, if I have 6 zombies following me on screen, and I get to the tourists can't turn into werewolves. So it's kind of like I wouldn't say a glitch, it's an exploitation. But just watching the day turn into like night, and then there's the street lights and stuff. I really like that level.
That was something when we were playing 2-player a few months back that you were telling me about that I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of playing 2-player, that's something that you do not like to do.
No,
I had to twist your arm.
It's the item accumulation.
Yeah,
because you're pretty much, instead of one person getting all the keys and all the skeleton keys and stuff like that, now you're sharing items, and it's a pain in the ass. It really is.
But if the second player dies, you could pick up all their items, right?
I actually don't know if you get all the items, because I feel like when I've went to go play after you've died or anybody else, and whenever I die and somebody else goes after me, I don't feel like they get all the stuff. I don't know. I can't answer that. I would think yes. But I don't know, because I don't like playing 2 players. And if you've never played before, if you're playing 2 players, both players are on screen at the same time. It is not a split screen game, which I feel like that is something they could have expanded on. And they could have tried to make it like that in this newer version.
Yeah, it's not too bad, though, honestly.
I mean, there's some things that I kind of wish they'd be like, let's play around with this. Let's see what different things we can do, because this is the only time they're ever going to re-release this game ever in our lives, ever.
It can be a pain in the ass at some points, but I don't think that it's a consistent problem.
It eliminates the fast shoes, because you can't move through the level. If one person has fast shoes, the other one doesn't. It takes that completely out of the game.
Yeah, that's fair. So I want to talk about some of the enemies a little bit, because I think they got really cool enemies.
Yes. Every horror movie stereotype enemies. It's phenomenal. So what are some of the ones that you had in mind?
Dude, some of my favorite enemies are the giant ants. the little pink goop things.
Oh.
What is that level?
Like 11.
9.
Oh, 9. Yes.
Is there any way to kill those?
Popsicles.
Oh, really?
Popsicles or fire extinguishers, but their hitbox is so small, like you can't just hit them on the arm. You gotta hit them right dead in the body, and they move multi-directional.
So you kill the pink goop things with a popsicle. That makes sense.
Well, you freeze them.
I tried doing that, but I guess what you're saying, the hitbox is so small. I couldn't hit them.
I think you freeze them like they did. Did they actually do that in the Blob, the movies? Didn't they have to freeze them in order to?
I don't know,
because I know they pulled some of the like for the werewolves. You hit them with the knives and the forks because they're made out of silver, and what is used to kill a werewolf? A silver bullet. Yes. So I thought that was really, really clever. So I don't know if this is the same thing or not, because I've never seen the Blob movie or anything like that.
The different enemies are susceptible to the different weapons.
Most of them. Yes.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yes. And it takes a lot of playing to just understand what you need. And this is why I tell people you can't really go on, because if there's different enemies at the later stages that, I need forks and spoons or forks and knives for werewolves, or I need the 6-pack for the evil dolls or something like that, you may not have it. Where if you play the entire game, odds are you'll have it in your arsenal somewhere.
Yeah, dude, those evil dolls are a pain in the ass.
Yes.
Level 10 with the in the warehouse with you're just stuck in this giant maze in a warehouse with evil dolls.
Mm-hmm.
It is such a pain in the ass to find the victims or to find the neighbors. I mean,
yeah,
in it.
But they end up being victims.
Yeah, but there's a lot of cool shit you could find in there. Lots of potions. I think there's a few beast potions and the the mystery potions. Lots of health packs that you need. But I mean, you really need the bazookas to get most of those, right?
Right. Or you could just use you can use a monster potion, because there is a monster potion at the top of the map in 10, where if you use a monster potion to open up a lot of the map and then get that monster potion, it's almost like you're just using it for free. Zombies Ate My Neighbors is one of those games where, early on, you want to collect as much crap as you can, because, and this is something this is something the creator said in the interview about being a very ration your items game, because he said, we designed it specifically for you not to get a lot of items later in the game.
You're in a zombie apocalypse.
Right.
You're not going to have a lot of items at your disposal.
Mm-hmm.
I do have one thing for you, and we're about to wrap this up.
Ooh.
Still speaking on the enemies a little bit. I was playing on the Switch. I'm like, that zombie looks so familiar. He just looks like somebody I know.
Oh.
Okay, so I got a picture, made a little collage for you.
Oh, no.
It looks like John Lithgow.
Which is funny because he was really big around that time because that was back when Third Rock from the Sun. Yep. Yes.
Like looking at that, does that not?
Yes.
I'm going to post that to our Discord if we have it or
our Twitter.
Yeah.
I think that's really funny. I really like that's really funny. Good catch on that one.
You got anything more you want to say about Zombies Ate My Neighbors?
It's definitely worth a play. Now, it's definitely going to be harder to try to find the cartridge because those are a little hard to find. Playing this version, I feel like there was so much more. Like, okay, this was something that a few months ago when Blizzard came out with the re-releases for Bloodborne and Lost Vikings,
their collection.
They released the original version of Rock and Roll Racing.
Mm-hmm.
Then they revamped it and they cleaned up the graphics. They put the original music in the game for like actual like studio recorded. Like they put Highway Star, the actual song, and they put Bad to the Bone by George Thorogood because they didn't have the full licenses to them. They actually put those in that game, and it made it so much cooler. There are so many things they could have done to make this game. Like, yeah, you want to play the original game, but man, they could have remastered that and done so much with it. And it kind of makes me a little upset. But then again, I'm looking at what's going to be coming out later this year. Demons Ate My Neighbors.
Is that this year or early next year?
I thought it was later this year because my wallet's going to be taking a beating at the end of the year when I buy that and Metroid Dread.
Yeah, just looking this up real quick. So Demons Ate My Neighbors is
a spiritual successor.
Right. And I don't think it has anything to do with any of the companies. It's just somebody else making it.
Right.
Yeah, looking at their site right now, it says Kickstarter relaunch soon. So they must have tried launching a Kickstarter and it didn't work.
Oh, no. Well, I might have to get on that then.
You say that there's so much that they could have done in the Switch port of it, but you also think that like the original Super Nintendo is such a great game. Like,
I do.
What's wrong with just putting it over on the Switch?
Okay, well, this isn't exactly like I'm saying, there's just so much more. So like if I had my druthers, there's so many more things you can do.
Had your druthers?
You've never heard that phrase?
No, how fucking old are you?
I'm like 72. Fuck you. No, like if I had my druthers, I think it would be really cool
to do. Double down on it.
I am going to double down on it. So if I had my druthers, you could create a Zombies Ate My Neighbors like spiritual successor with more like multiplayer, like online, where like you and 3 other friends online could go through levels and stuff. Bigger levels with maybe more victims, more enemies. And I thought about this the other day. How cool would it be to play on a map of Zombies Ate My Neighbors at Camp Crystal Lake or Silent Hill or Elm Street or the Overlook Hotel where The Shining took place? Different horror movie locales. How cool would that be? Just doing like playing a basic game with that kind of a theme. Like 25 of your favorite old horror movie locales. And you just play a Zombies Ate My Neighbors through that with your friends online. With more like more playable characters.
It would be cool, but Zombies Ate My Neighbors is damn near perfect.
It is, and
let's not fuck with it.
I'm not, but I'm just saying this is me being like, if you're gonna just re-release it for the Switch, I love being able to like play it while I'm driving.
That's a joke. I hope.
Kind of. Stoplights. But yeah, I mean, like when I think of there's so many other cool things you can do. It is a perfect game. But this is just me being picky because I'm like, man, I really want to pick it apart, but there's really nothing you can pick apart with it.
You say picky, I say greedy.
I am greedy.
And let's wrap this up.
Yes.
So please, please, please check out Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Yes, and check us out on Twitter at retro_smashed.
for episode 2?
3?
2?
Is it 2? I can't count that high.
It's 2. I'm Eric.
And
this is Nick.
I am Nick, yes. Bye, kids.